A very good morning to all of you. You're watching Breakfast News. My name is Aditi Nagpal. Let's get the news rolling with the headlines first. ISRO's GSAT-30 communication satellite launched successfully. High-power communication satellite to provide high-quality television, telecommunications and broadcasting services. Prime Minister Modi welcomes agreement to permanently settle Bruriang refugees in Tripura, says they will now get benefit of development schemes. Centre announces 600 crore rupee package for their rehabilitation. MHA meet to discuss modalities for consensus. NPR today. Union Ministry Nityanand Rai to chair meeting. Union Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi to address concluding day of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association India region in Lucknow. Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman Harivansh emphasizes need for lawmakers to understand economic and social indicators in budget proposals. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu pays tribute to Veer Savarkar, visits cellular jail in Port Blair, calls it a reminder of our hard-won and precious freedom. In a first satellite launch of this year, Indian Space Research Organization's communication satellite GSAT-30 was successfully launched on board Ariane 5 rocket from French Guiana in the early hours today. European Space Consortium Arianespace's Ariane 5 vehicle injected GSAT-30 into the orbit in a flawless flight lasting about 38 minutes. ISRO said the GSAT-30 is aimed at providing high-quality television, telecommunications and broadcasting services. The 3,357-kilogram GSAT-30 will serve as a replacement to INSAT-4A spacecraft services with enhanced coverage. The satellite derives its heritage from ISRO's earlier INSAT-GSAT satellite series. The satellite will provide Indian mainland and islands coverage in Ku-band and extended coverage in C-band, covering Gulf countries, a large number of Asian countries and Australia. ISRO's U.R. Rao Satellite Centre Director P. Kunnikrishnan, who was present in Kourou, congratulated the ISRO community and Arianespace team on the successful launch. Let's connect with TV Venkateshwaran, who's a scientist. Let's understand from him what's the aim of this launch. TV Venkataramanji, ISRO launched GSAT-30 in a flawless flight into the orbit. What's the aim of it?
Yeah, there are two aims. One is replacement aim. Basically, there was INSAT-4A, whose lifetime is coming to an end. I mean, when you launch a satellite, approximately its mission life is about 15 years. INSAT-4A was launched about 15 years ago in 2005. So its lifetime is coming to an end, and GSAT-30 will replace it. The second is because we are launching this satellite after 30 years, because in the meantime, the electronics have advanced really further. There is an enhanced capacity for GSAT-30. So, in addition to what it was doing, that is INSAT-4A was doing, GSAT-30 is expected to provide additional services like digital news gathering, cellular backhaul connectivity. In addition, ISRO is also proposing that they will use this satellite to bridge the digital divide. Even now in rural areas, we don't have adequate internet connectivity, data connectivity, and ISRO is suggesting that perhaps they would be able to use this to provide connectivity in rural areas.
Thank you, TV Venkataraman, so much for all that information. Moving on, a three-parted agreement to permanently settle Bru tribals from Mizoram was signed on Thursday. Representatives of Bru tribals, the Mizoram government and the centre signed the agreement in the presence of Union Home Minister Amit Shah in New Delhi. With this, over 30,000 displaced Bru tribals from Mizoram, who have been living as refugees in Tripura since 1997, will be permanently settled in Tripura. The tribals have been living in Tripura in different relief camps after they fled Mizoram in 1997, following ethnic clashes between Bru and Mizoram communities.
एक के बाद एक उत्तर पूर्व की सारी समस्याओं का समाधान प्रधानमंत्री के नेतृत्व में जिस प्रकार से हो रहा है, इसमें भी उनके ही इनिशिएटिव से एक नए सिरे से वार्ता, नए सिरे से नेगोशिएशंस चालू हुए और उसमें अंत में समाधान ये हुआ कि सारे जो ब्रू रियांग परिवार हैं, जो आज लगभग 30,000 के आसपास होते हैं, वो सभी को त्रिपुरा में ही परमानेंट बसाने की व्यवस्था की जाएगी.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has welcomed the agreement to permanently settle Bru-Riang refugees in Tripura, saying it will greatly help them. In a Twitter message, PM Modi also said the Bru-Riang refugees will benefit from numerous development schemes. The Prime Minister added his government is committed to the development of the Northeast and its citizens. The Home Ministry has convened a meeting today to discuss the modalities for the 2020 consensus and the National Population Register. Minister of State for Home, Nityanand Rai, will chair the meeting, which will be attended by Union Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla and Chief Secretaries and Consensus Directors of all states. The Home Ministry officials said the meeting will discuss the modalities for the house listing phase of the consensus and the NPR to be carried out from 1st April to 30th September. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday took part in the International Conclave on Global Indian Thought organized by IIM Kozhikode through video conference. Speaking at the event, the Prime Minister said the Indian way of life offers a ray of hope in a world torn by mindless hate, violence and terrorism. Citing Mahatma Gandhi's contribution to India's independence, PM Modi said people around the world gained strength from Gandhian ideals. He said compassion, harmony, justice, service and openness are the central pillars of the Indian way of life. Emphasizing that Indian civilization had prospered because it had opened its door to the world, Prime Minister Modi said India doesn't meet conflict with brute force but the power of dialogue.
Ours is the land that has given the world vibrant faiths such as Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. In this land, the Sufi tradition has flourished. Non-violence is at the core of all of these. In the 20th century, Mahatma Gandhi championed these ideals and this contributed to India's freedom. At the same time, they gave strength to millions outside. Be it Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. or Nelson Mandela or the freedom struggles in many African nations. They took inspirations from Gandhi ji.
Home Minister Amit Shah will meet leaders of tribal-based parties of northeastern states over the Citizenship Amendment Act in New Delhi today. The parties include BJP's ally, the Indigenous People's Front of Tripura. In Shillong, Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangma will lead a delegation of the Meghalaya Democratic Alliance to meet Shah. Meanwhile, on Thursday, Home Minister Amit Shah reiterated that the Citizenship Amendment Act only gives citizenship to minority refugees. Addressing a public meeting in Vaishali district of Bihar in support of Citizenship Amendment Act, Shah told opposition parties not to mislead the public on CAA. The meeting is part of BJP's campaign to create awareness about the CAA. He said the government is trying to do justice to many victims through this act.
कांग्रेस पार्टी ने धर्म के आधार पर देश का विभाजन कर एक गलत नींव डालने का काम किया और परिणाम क्या हुआ? लाखों लाखों लोग मारे गए, लाखों शरणार्थी देश में आए और उसके बाद भी जो बचा हुआ पाकिस्तान था, पश्चिम पाकिस्तान और पूर्वी पाकिस्तान, वहां पर हिंदू, सिख, बौद्ध, जैन, क्रिश्चियन भाइयों के साथ अन्याय शुरू। लगभग दोनों जगह 30-30% हिंदू, सिख, बौद्ध थे, 30-30%। और आज ये लालू प्रसाद यादव और राहुल बाबा दोनों मुझे जवाब दे, कितने हिंदू और सिख बचे हैं? मैं आपको पूछना चाहता हूं, ममता दीदी, ये कहां गए? इनको मार दिया गया, इनका धर्म परिवर्तन करा दिया गया, इनको खदेड़ दिया गया।
In order to raise awareness about the Citizenship Amendment Act, a conference was also organized in Delhi on Thursday. Members of Parliament and other dignitaries put forth their views on the CAA. Rajya Sabha MP Saroj Pandey said the politics of vote appeasement had deprived people of their rights for 70 years and that the opposition has been misleading people about the act. Rajya Sabha MP Swapan Das Gupta said refugees have been facing difficulties since partition.
70 साल के बाद अगर सच में किसी ने मजबूती के साथ काम किया है तो वो देश के प्रधानमंत्री हमारे नरेंद्र मोदी जी और हमारे गृह मंत्री ने ईमानदारी के साथ उसको धरातल पर उतारने की शुरुआत की है। ये वोट के तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति ने 70 साल के इस लंबे इतिहास को वैसा का वैसा ही रहने दिया।
Likewise, so there is a difference between those who have taken refuge in India, who's taken sanctuary in India, and people like these Bangladeshi Hindus or those Sikhs from Afghanistan, who for them there is no other country left. There is no nationality for them left. So either they are India or they are nothing.
With this, we'll slip into a quick break, but we'll be back soon. Stay tuned with us.
They wanted to make a jail in such a pattern so that these convicts in each cells cannot have communication to each other.
The soil is wet, even today. Somewhere hidden under the grass are the footprints of those who once walked, lived, and died here.
They fought against the British, they fought for the freedom, and they have been confined in this solitary cell. And they suffered all the tortures.
It's an everlasting story, written and preserved within these walls.
आज सेलुलर जेल दुख की जगह नहीं है, बल्कि सेलुलर जेल एक इंस्पिरेशन की जगह, ये फ्रीडम का मंदिर है।
The time itself narrates the stories in silence, written on the walls of the cellular jail.
BS6 or Bharat Stage 6 is the new emission standard that all vehicles in the country will have to adhere to from April 1st, 2020.
BS6 fuel and the vehicles, irrespective of the usage, must come to the country because country cannot afford this polluting atmosphere.
You are aligning three things. You are aligning production, you are aligning the vendor base, and you are aligning the oil companies. And then the fourth part, which is very important, is customer education. I still believe there are a lot of misconceptions.
Both the refineries have to work for better quality fuel. The automobile companies have to work for new technology. So therefore, both have to be ready. Then only we can have cleaner, atmosphere.
Welcome back. You're still with us on Breakfast News. The Conference of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association India region will conclude in Lucknow today. Union Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi will deliver a keynote address at the concluding day of 7th Conference of CPA India region at Uttar Pradesh Legislative Assembly Hall. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla will address press conference on the outcome of the conference in the evening. Meanwhile, Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has conveyed his best wishes for the success of the 7th Conference of CPA. For the first time, this conference is being held in Uttar Pradesh. On this occasion, a special book titled First Historic Session of CPA India Region was also published. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla has urged parliamentarians to be disciplined and dignified while airing their views in the parliament. Speaking at the inauguration of the 7th Commonwealth Parliamentary Association India Region Conference at the UP Vidhan Sabha in Lucknow on Thursday, Birla said, lawmakers should come out strongly and emotionally while putting forth their point in the House, but in a dignified manner. Deputy Chairman of the Upper House, Harivansh, also addressed the event.
एक ऐसी समितियां होती है जिससे दल से ऊपर उठकर हम पारदर्शी तरीके से अपनी बात संसदीय समिति में कहते हैं और कानून बनाते समय हमारे जनप्रतिनिधि ज्ञानपूर्ण तरीके से कानून बनते समय अगर लोकतंत्र के मंदिर में वाद विवाद हो, चर्चा हो, संवाद हो और कानून बनाने के लिए हमारी सक्रिय महत्वपूर्ण भागीदारी होना आवश्यक है।
दुनिया भारत को आर्थिक महाशक्ति बनने की ओर देख रही है। भारत की आर्थिक महाशक्ति बनना, उसकी यात्रा यहां हम एकत्र सर्वशक्तिमान लोकतंत्र में जो संस्थाएं हैं, उनके हम जो प्रतिनिधिगण हैं, हम उनके पीठासीन अधिकारीगण हैं, हम सबकी सामूहिक इफिशियंसी, निगरानी, नीति निर्धारण, व्यवस्था की कमियों पर चौकसी और क्रिटिकल क्रिएटिव सजेशंस से ही होकर गुजरता है। ये हमारी यानी लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाओं की रहनुमाई करने वालों पर जिम्मेदारी है कि इतिहास ने हमें जो विलक्षण अवसर दिया है, भारत की नई नियति को लोकतांत्रिक व्यवस्था के माध्यम से बेहतर करने के लिए वो हम कम समय में कैसे इस काम को पूरा कर पाएंगे।
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Thursday visited the cellular jail in Port Blair, paying tribute to Veer Savarkar at his solitary confinement cell. The Vice President said, Veer Savarkar's life is a great inspiration to youngsters, stating that the cellular jail was a reminder of how hard-won and precious our freedom is. Naidu urged the HRD ministry and all state governments for organizing student visits to cellular jail and other places linked to the freedom struggle. Describing his visit to the jail as a humbling experience, the Vice President expressed confidence that a visit to the cellular jail would inspire youth to strive for the greater glory of the country. In a major development in Andhra Pradesh's politics, actor-turned-politician Pawan Kalyan's Janasena party has decided to join hands with Bharatiya Janata Party. The announcement was made after a meeting took place on January 16th in Vijayawada between leaders of both the parties, amid unrest in Amravati region owing to YSRCP government's proposal for 3 capitals. The two outfits have also announced that they will contest the 2024 assembly elections together and will have a seat-sharing plan well in time. Janasena was formed in March 2014 and after supporting the BJP-TDP coalition initially had a fallout with the two parties. Yet another attempt by China to internationalize the issue of Kashmir at the behest of its ally Pakistan failed miserably at the United Nations on Wednesday. Most members of the top world body said it was not the place to discuss the issue. China made a fresh pitch to raise the Kashmir issue under other matters during closed consultations in the Security Council consultations room. Reacting to the development, MEA spokesperson Ravish Kumar said Pakistan had attempted to misuse the UNSC platform and has a choice to avoid such global embarrassment in future. Hitting out at China, Kumar asked Beijing to seriously reflect on the global consensus and refrain from such actions in the future.
Pakistan's desperate measures to peddle baseless allegations and present an alarming scenario, it lacked any credibility. We sincerely hope that the message has gone out loud and clear to Pakistan that if at all there is any matter between India and Pakistan that needs to be discussed, it should be discussed bilaterally. Pakistan has a choice of avoiding this global embarrassment time and again by refraining from such acts in the future. China should seriously reflect on this global consensus, draw the proper lessons, and refrain from taking such action in the future.
A major attack ahead of Republic Day in Jammu and Kashmir was averted after the police busted a module of Jaish-e-Mohammed and arrested 5 terrorists on Thursday. Police arrested 5 people who were active carriers of the prescribed terror outfit Jaish-e-Mohammed and were involved in recent terror incidents in Srinagar. Incriminating material and explosive substances such as explosives, detonators, arms, explosive body vests, batteries and nitric acid were also recovered at the site. And now let's talk about environment and climate change. The last decade has been confirmed as the warmest decade on record by 3 global agencies. According to NASA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the UK Met Office, 2019 year was the second warmest in records with 1.05 degrees Celsius above the average since 1850. 2016 remains the warmest year on record when temperatures increased because of the El Niño weather phenomenon. The past 5 years were the hottest in the past 170 years, and 2020 is likely to continue this trend. The Arctic continues to be particularly vulnerable to climate change, with the region warming more than 3 times faster than the rest of the world since 1970. Carbon emissions from human activities are the main cause of the sustained temperature rise seen in recent years. And before we wrap the bulletin, let's take a look at the weather conditions in major cities of the country.